It's painful to say goodbye.
It's hard to say I miss you.
The time of love
Is a gruesome cruise.
I need you now, dear Lord.
Have you ever had something that really fuels your passion and that thing gets lost? This show is for you. The show is Painful Goodbyes. Just to help us in that topic is Thando, and he's with us here. People would love to know who we are talking about and talking to.
Awesome. Thando is my name, and I'm so excited to be here. And I hope to share my story with everyone, and hopefully someone will be inspired. Yeah. So maybe just a bit about myself. I am I'm a husband to one lovely wife, father to two children, and I love people. I love teaching. I love good food, and I love singing as well. Pretty much, I think you could say Thando is someone who likes to connect with people, who likes to make a difference in other people's lives. And really, that's what really keeps me going every single day. Yeah.
Maybe that explains the middle name. That is it. You gave yourself Hatsman.
It's actually interestingly, it's actually it was my first name at birth. So if you were to go to the original birth entry, at the place where they make the birth certificates, you'll find that originally my name is Hatsman, and Thando is the second name. And yeah, so it actually it was corrected recently. Yeah. So yeah.
So now it's Thando. Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
It's good to know about that. And now you spoke about your passion. What are the things that fueled your passion?
Yeah. I did mention that I do enjoy career guidance, for example, and that's one of the things that really, it animates me, it inspires me. And whenever I look at young people, the one thing that I really feel close to my heart is to help them to achieve their fullest potential. And so I think from around 2006, when I was in college, I remember coming out with this idea that, I would really like to be involved in career guidance, but I really never then got to that. And then along the line, as I would go to the rural areas, I would see this gap. It would be nice to go to the rural areas and inspire young people. And that was something that really drove me. And I remember thinking, okay, so how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I get to the rural areas? How do I, and then somewhere along the line, something came that, could really help me to achieve my goal. Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I remember, interestingly, it was when we were thinking about, a car. I went through a bit of a crisis, and as a family decided, we need to get a pickup truck. And when we got that pickup truck, wow, it was, it just helped me to, further that passion, and I would find myself going to the rural areas, to do career guidance. And yeah, so that was really that one thing that really, helped me get closer to my
realize.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So where you'll be able to pack your things, and
yes,
it will be a very beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Now, you spoke about your wife and your children. Maybe just a bit on your children, their names, who are they, and how old they are.
Yeah, sure. My wife, more blessings, lovely young lady, keeps me young. And then Carol, she's 7. Chad is turning, he's 5. And then, that's the 4 of us. We have someone coming soon, so we'll share the name when they come.
Thank you very much for sharing your story, and thank you for sharing about the car that really drove your passion and made it possible for you to realize this. Please stay tuned. After the break, we'll hear more on this story. Welcome back to the second segment. This is the show Painful Goodbyes. I am Skombuzo Due, and in the show with me is Thando Nkomo. I learned today that Hatsman was the original name. I used to think it's not the original name. Now, there is the choice of the car that you had. Maybe we need to talk about that. Why that car specifically and not other cars for fueling this passion that you had?
I mean, the car itself, in terms of the choice, maybe can I say it was by providence?
Okay.
I remember we started looking for a car as a family, and we didn't have enough money, and we posted, we're looking for a car, and lo and behold, someone was interested in listening to our story.
Okay. Right.
And so that's how we ended up, settling for that. It was a Nissan Navara XUK, nice blue backy. It was a club cap, So yeah, it was definitely not love at first sight, but it was, but it was able to do what it is that we wanted, and it really, plugged a couple of gaps in the areas that we wanted to fill in our family setup.
Okay.
When it comes to traveling to the rural areas, even for family errands, it really made our lives much easier. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You are talking about the car in past tense terms. Why so? What happened?
Yeah, on in vernacular they say there's a stupid day,
Okay.
And there's out of the blue we had an accident, really. If I may just take you through that, I was. My mother-in-law requested to use the vehicle for a graduation ceremony. My sister-in-law was graduating at MSU.
Okay.
And so they requested, can we use your car? And I was like, sure, you can use my car. My wife at that time was in South Africa. She had gone to visit, and she was expecting our last born child. And so I was alone at home. I didn't really need the car. So I was like, okay, sure, you can use the car. And so gave her the car in the morning. And she went with my sister-in-law and I think two or three other relatives. And later in the evening, after the graduation, around 4 thereabout, 3, 4 thereabout, she calls me and says, hey, the car is refusing to. I remember she said it's not, the gears are not functioning. I was like, gears? But I recently serviced the car. What's happening? It's like, no, they're not functioning. And so I said to her, okay, no, that's fine. Can you just leave the car there in Gweru? I'm organizing transport for you to drive to Bulawayo. And then I will drive and pick up the car with the mechanic, and so everything was set. Around the time that I expected them to be in Bulawayo, I get a call. No, we would like you to actually come and pick us up.
Okay.
So all the time I was in Bulawayo, I was minding my own business, thinking, I'm waiting for these guys to arrive. But we left. We had to go and pick them up. I went with my brother-in-law in a I think it's a 2-ton, those 2-ton trucks. And so we went, and when we got to Gweru, we decided, why don't we just tow tow my car back to Bulawayo.
Okay.
So I was in my bakkie with other people, and other people were in the other truck. And I remember I was feeling so sleepy. In fact, what I remember most about that day, that trip in particular, was the whole way from Bulawayo to Gweru, I kept falling in and out of sleep. And then when we're now coming back, I could only drive up to Shangani. And I said, no, I cannot do this anymore. I'm feeling sleepy, super sleepy. And I kept on, as we're now coming, I kept on falling asleep, waking up, falling asleep. And the last thing that I remember two last things. I remember us passing, there was an accident just before Ntabazinduna, and I remember that one person died at that accident. I remember us passing that accident. And I remember seeing the rescue, the fire rescue team.
On your way to Gweru?
No, we're coming back to Bulawayo. I remember seeing those people attending to the scene. And I remember seeing a sign that said, Bulawayo, I think it was Bulawayo 40 Ks or Bulawayo, I can't, but I remember that sign specifically. And I remember saying, oh, wow, we are almost home. And the next thing I remember is that it was like a dream. I just felt commotion. The car was in distress. I could feel like, there was a lot of banging, and things were just not in order. But we're still moving, but I could feel that something was not right. But as I would then realize afterwards, what had actually happened was the car was spinning. It was rolling. I'm not sure how many times it rolled, and then it set on it landed on its feet, or on its wheels rather.
Quite a painful thing it was. And now you woke up. There's this kind of waking up from the dream, and you are seeing the car it's just what it is. Tell me about the emotions that you went through.
Yeah, I mean, it was like every accident. No one expects an accident. What I remember is that before we attended to the car, I remember that I had to check if other people were okay, and fortunately everyone was alive, although there were a lot of bruises and cuts, but I came out alive. And a part of me was angry that how did we get into this kind of a situation? At the same time, so I'm having these mixed feelings. I'm excited that I'm alive, but I'm also angry that I'm sad. I'm angry that this is such an unfortunate situation. And you then start to think, okay, so now we're in this situation. What does it mean going forward? And it's never easy to come out of an accident. It's never,
And the other car that was towing you, and there is this car. What was the condition of the other car that you used?
So what happened was there was the tow bar. The tow bar actually broke the loading bed of that 2-ton truck. So that truck was that side there, and it had separated. The loading bed had separated from it. It had overturned. It was
So two trucks overturned.
Yeah, it was really terrible. Yeah, it was a terrible situation.
Now this is you're coming from a very joyous event. And now you are stuck in a very sad event. There is this kind of a situation where you shift from one spectrum to the other. And what did that do to you?
I mean, also maybe some background as well. We had actually, the week of that accident was actually the anniversary of my father's death in a car accident. So you can imagine, I was just thinking, wow, I'm in a car accident on the same week that my dad was involved in a car accident 12 months prior. And you're thinking, okay, so what's really going on here? And my relatives, these are my in-laws, I was helping them. Now we're in this kind of an accident. You really wonder what's really going on. Is there something sinister here? What's really happening? Certainly people were happy, certainly people are sad. I was at home, minding my own business, just waiting. I remember I was preparing for the Sabbath, and I just eaten my meal, and suddenly I had to rush to Gweru, and then suddenly I'm in this kind of a situation. Really, it was a lot of things went through my mind. Yeah.
Now, speaking about, you were. It sounds like you were triggered by the loss. I mean, this accident, the loss of a car became more painful because of the anniversary that was in that week. Maybe just take us through that and the loss and the connection between the two.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about our, Africans, Africans hold a lot of beliefs, and and certainly when you find yourself facing something like that, like I'm saying, my dad died that very week, the previous year, and now I am in such an accident. You'll be thinking, okay, so is there a connection here? And so definitely it was quite unsettling because it made me step back and wonder, okay, is there something here that I should be worried about, So the accident was a reminder, a reminder about the loss of my dad, I remember even up to that time, it's something that would keep on coming back to me, and I would always ask myself, but, how did this man die in the car accident in such a manner? And for me to find myself now in such a situation, it was quite unsettling. It was really, really quite unsettling. But I think the one thing that really kept me focused and resolute was, No, God is there. This thing happened for a purpose. I may not understand the purpose. But I was really grateful that I was alive to tell the tale. Yeah.
Are there any similarities, and if they are there, what could they be between the two accidents, and what do they mean to you?
For me, I can't really say there were any similarities, but in terms of what they mean to me as a Christian, for example, is they help me to reflect on the question of why.
Okay.
Why me? Why at that particular time? And as someone who always struggles to answer questions, those are some of the questions that's one question. The question of that accident is one that I have, I've just said, what, we're going to understand it sometime, but what, definitely it's one question that I want to sit down, when you get to heaven, sit down with Jesus and say, but man, why? Why at that particular time did I have to go through this? Or my dad, why did they have to go through this? And so for me, it's a point of reflection in that kind of direction.
Thank you very much for your honesty and your candidness in this. There you have it, friends. Sometimes certain losses trigger the losses of those losses that we may not have grieved necessarily. Please stay tuned as we get into the third and final segment. Welcome back to the show, Painful Goodbyes. So sometimes when days are dark, friends are very few. I don't know when you lost your car. Maybe you can talk about your friends and the support system that you had during that time.
Wow, it was amazing. I remember that the first thing that happened as soon as I got out of my car, I took my phone and I tried to call. I remember I tried to call my friend. Actually, I thought about who was the nearest person to where I was, and two names came by. There was Kolwani, and then there was Roy. I tried Kolwani. Kolwani didn't pick up his phone. And then I tried Roy. And what I remember about Roy is that for some reason on that particular day or morning, his phone was on. Because I remember he was saying, Thando, I never keep my phone on during the night. But on that day, his phone was on, and he was the first person to respond. He came, and I just explained to him, because I was in so much pain, and I just told him what was happening, and then he was the one who then assisted with calling the ambulance and all the things. And then I remember when I had gotten to the hospital, my sister-in-law was very supportive. I was in one hospital where I was really uncomfortable, and she assisted me to be transferred to another hospital. And then when I was at the other hospital, the men from church, they came, and it was amazing. The messages of consolation were coming. Some of them I didn't like. I didn't like. I remember, when you're in a car accident, people will say, it's good that you're alive. And I was like, yeah, it's great that I'm alive, but do you understand that I actually lost a car? I was really angry. I was angry because I really felt the devil had actually taken something from me, and he didn't need to take it. So yes, the support was phenomenal from the church friends in particular. I remember they came to visit. I was in the hospital for 2 or 3 days, I think. It was really amazing. Yeah, it was amazing.
You spoke about the comments and that at least you are alive. So this brought a question to my mind. When you lost that car, what did you lose?
I lost my legs. I lost my ability to get things done. I lost my ability to get things done as quickly as I want them to be done. So essentially, I could no longer be able to. I remember we were in business, so we had a family business. It meant that we could no longer be as efficient in business. It meant that I could no longer support my various family members in the manner that I could support them. I could no longer, even at church, my contribution at church was now a bit difficult. I started to worry about, okay, so I worship at this church that is in town and I don't stay in town. Now we have to worry about transport to church. And I remember no one ever offered me transport to church. And no one was there when, after that, no one was there to call and say, but guys, we know that you're in an accident. You no longer have a car. Can we come and pick you up and we go to church with you? No one was there, So we lost a lot. No one was there now to pick us up when we need to go for shopping or we need to go to the rural areas. Those are the things that we lost as a family and as a person. Remember, I talked about the career guidance projects. Those came to a standstill because now my legs pretty much were cut. That is what I lost.
Yes.
So when someone would say, wow, at least you're alive. Yes, at least I'm alive, but don't have my legs. Yeah.
So with that, and there are other comments maybe that came besides at least you are alive that may have injured you somehow. What are those comments?
Well, I can't really point to specifics, but I can think about things like God gives yeah, and God takes. Oh, don't worry, it will come, things will come, it will be okay, you know. I think for me, the test in all this was, because I think I'm a very rational person, and I'm not a theologian, but I've read the Bible very well. And so I really wanted a theologically correct explanation to what has just happened. You know, and so I guess I got to identify a bit with Job, just a bit. You know, Job had much more than I did, but got to identify a bit with that. And it really then helped me to also reflect perhaps on my attachment to that vehicle. To say maybe, you know, maybe I loved the thing too much. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
There are instances where people revise their attachment. How was it so in your case? And if so, maybe you can talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, truth be told, it has been difficult to let go of the idea of that vehicle. It has been very difficult because we did try to rebuild it. It's still somewhere being rebuilt, but it really also helps me to ask myself, are there things maybe that I am holding on to too much? Maybe I should just let go and let God. You know, those are the kinds of things that come to mind. So yeah, it's really helped me to reflect on a lot of things, and also another point of reflection has been also to the attachment that you have with friends and family, to think that maybe they might come through for you. And then you realize that it's not necessarily the case. Just because you come through for other people, it's not necessarily the case that they may come through for you. But I mean, these are not sour grapes, but this is just some of the things that you know, I've come to learn to deal with. Yeah.
What would be your final words to anyone that has lost maybe a car, a house, or whatever?
Take it in your stride. We don't know what is ahead, so just take it in your stride. Rise up. You know, if you've got family to help you through it, all the best. If you don't have, I think God understands. God is going to help you through, and God is always going to provide those miracles for you. And yeah, if there was time, I'll tell you about one miracle that is always available for us. But indeed, yeah, take it in your stride.
Thank you very much, Thando Nkomo, for sharing your story for me, Thando, and the crew behind the scenes. It's a wrap.